time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Let's welcome to the show one of the happiest people I ever dealt with in my entire career while he played for the Ottawa Senators, Shawn McEachern.
What's going on, guys?
Back by popular demand. We've been getting emails nonstop ever since you last came on the show. Oh, man. Hey, I got to ask you, do you remember ever getting in these kind of losing streaks like Ottawa's in right now? You lose 5 in a row. Like, you probably played on some teams where you just think it's never going to end.
Yeah, I played for the Atlanta Thrashers, so we lost quite a few in a row.
The captain.
Yeah, the worst part is you jumping on the ice, you're down 1-0, and you're jumping on the ice at the end of the game, and they score the empty netter again, and there you are, minus 27 for the year. You're getting crushed. You're like, are we ever going to get out of this? But yeah, it's tough. It's tough, right? Especially up in Canada. Nobody cared in Atlanta, but you're in Ottawa. We'd lose. Our first year, we lost a bunch of games, made the playoffs the last game of the season. But looking back, there was some of the funniest times though, watching Jacques come in the room and snap. Here we are, boys.
He seems very calm.
What was the usual Jacques thing? I know I remember the line he'd always go to. What do you remember when Jacques would say to us after a lose? We'd go on a losing streak.
The best one was when he came in after we were in what do you call it, in Anaheim, and he's like, "Here we are on the Coast West," and I was like, "That doesn't go right. It doesn't go good." But he would always talk about, "I was driving in today, and there was a guy on the roof. He was roofing. We have the best job in the world, guys. It's the best job to be an NHL player. Second best is to be a coach. You should be very appreciative." I always like Jacques' speech.
People pay good money to watch you guys play. Good money. And he'd go to that one, and all our heads would be down. We'd be feeling shame. But we'd eventually snap out of it. The speech has worked. Wanted to ask you before we get in a little more sense. I know you're coaching this year. You're coaching a new program downtown Boston. How's your team doing?
But yeah, it's not a new program. It's been around a long time, but I took over. This is my 3rd year, and they had a part-time coach before. We're in a real good league, and so I'm working on bringing in recruits. I brought in a lot of guys. We had a real young team, like a lot of freshmen, sophomores, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been good.
What league are you in?
We're in the Conference of New England. So the top teams in our league right now are like Endicott and University of New England and Curry College. And so like the last few years, there's 12 teams that make the NCAA tournament for Division III hockey. 2 years ago, the top 3 teams in our league all made it. Last year, 2 teams from our league made it. So it's a very strong league.
Are you guys about to get tougher or more talented with this whole NCAA CHL rule? Like, will we see a filter down of players coming that would be D1 that may not have a spot?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a filter down. I think that like the North American League and some of these leagues where a lot of guys are waiting on D1 offer, especially towards the end of the year, they'll be available later in the season. And then there'll be guys from the lesser schools in D1 because of the filter down from the top teams to the lower teams.
You know Brady Tkachuk very well. I'm just curious, and I don't know if you've heard the nonsense that's happening up here about, well, maybe he's not the right guy. He shouldn't be the captain. I'm just curious your thoughts on what you know of Brady Tkachuk, the person. And if you were to be, I guess, on his team, what you'd be thinking right about now.
I don't know Brady Tkachuk very well. I know Keith well. I played with Keith in college, and I've met his boys when I met Brady when he was at BU, but I don't know him real well. I've always enjoyed watching him play, and I know when Ottawa drafted him, I was pretty excited because I know some people in Ottawa weren't happy with the draft pick, but he was a real good college player, and like his dad, he was a good college player, but he's a better pro. But like I know he's up in Ottawa, and he's the captain of the team. It's always tough being a captain of a Canadian team, especially when you're a younger guy too, and a team that's struggling. So I think that just kind of goes with, playing in Canada.
And they never.
You think it was tough for Yash to be captain?
Yeah, it never seemed to bother Yash very much.
Okay, we'll move on.
Yash didn't know. He didn't know.
Oh boy.
Was there a leader in that group? you did have like veterans like yourself, Igor Kravchuk, I know but who was the captain? Who was the leader?
Alfie. Alfie.
Yeah.
To me, Alfie was the captain. We had a great group of guys. I mean, I had 6 great years in Ottawa, and I really enjoyed playing with the guys we played with. Alfie. You know, I don't think in the NHL like a captain. You know, he's not the rah guy. It's the guy that plays every night, shows up, like is counted on to be like a true professional and get out there and work and shows up in shape and plays hard for the team. And like guy like Alfredson was always there. I mean, he played his ass off every game and was super competitive guy. And
Yeah.
I think it was the way Jock and the organization handled Yash was like spectacular. Obviously, after the trade to the Islanders for Chara and Spezza and all, Billy McCult. But it was they handled it well. They had an asset that like was a tremendous offensive player, but just was a little different.
So I got a surprise for you, Mark. Speaking of old teammates, I'm going to bring in right now a tremendous teammate that you might remember from years past, and he's I think he's waiting for us right now. Do we got him, Jake? Is he ready to come on?
There he is.
Hey, Big Mac, how are you?
Denny, the dancing bear VL.
Does my head fit in that screen?
Denny, hey Jake, can we get a bigger screen for Denny?
No.
He moved back. You can see he moved back,
All right. So, Mac, I got to ask you this. I was talking to Denny yesterday, and he was going to come on the show tomorrow. He told me back when you were coaching at the Rivers, you're coaching a prep school. Yeah. Denny was also coaching a high school, and he tried to set up a game with you, but it never happened. What happened?
I don't know. I forget how we tried to set something up, didn't we, Denny?
I remember calling you, and you were telling me that you had some players that were eligible for D1 getting like scholarships. So I said, leave those kids at home.
we had some pretty good players. Like I think when that happened, who we had in the team then was Cade Weber, who's signed a contract with Toronto. He's playing in for the Marlies right now. The 6'6" defenseman they have. He's pretty good. Oh, wow. He would have mopped Denny's team up.
Yeah. So Denny, you were coaching a high school team out east. What was the name of your team?
Well, it was a Horton High School. It's just a local high school team here. So our coach, he was looking at for the kids a different experience, try something. Yeah. So, and I knew you were coaching a high school team in Boston. So I was to see if we could set up an exhibition game or something like that. It's like, because you don't want to go to play us.
Horton High School.
Is this the one in Wolfville?
Yep.
Okay, here's my dad went to that high school.
Oh, no way.
I have his jacket from like 55, 56, his high school jacket in my closet.
Then he can wear it on the bench.
It's a little snug.
Right, you're a Maritimer.
Yeah, from Fredericton.
Get right on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wally's a Maritimer. You'd never know it. He's kind of salty.
For those who don't know and are listening on a pod and can't see, this is Denny VL, former Ottawa Senator, who has joined the show. You all right? Failed to even try to mention that you were.
I said we got Denny probably the best nickname I think maybe in Ottawa Senators history. Denny the Dancing Bear. By the way, who named you that? Where did that name come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably Yorkie.
No, he was always I played junior with Denny, and he was the Dancing Bear in junior as well. So it must have came from junior. Like somebody in junior. Like this is a true story. Denny and I played for the Hamilton Steelhawks. Bill LaForge, crazy coach. Mac, I've told you tons of stories. Yeah. Denny used to pick me up every single day in his little red Chevette. His head was crunched against the windshield. He had the Steve Miller band just cranking. There was no talking the whole way to the rink. Then the jaw would be clenched. We get to the rink, and all of a sudden we'd go to practice, and then everybody was calling you the Dancing Bear, but I never know where that came from. So, what's the origin?
No idea how it all started.
He's not going to share it.
Stuck.
God, Eddie, come on. All right. Well, if you're not going to answer that question, I got to ask Mac this question. Long time ago, when we were playing for the Ottawa Senators, there was a chili incident that happened.
Yeah, there was. And,
bring that up, Yorkie.
Yeah, and I want to know the details of this so-called chili incident, Mac.
I was playing for the Sens my first year there, living in Canada Lakes on Knutson Drive. Is that what it would be?
Knutson Drive.
Knutson
Yeah.
Drive. Yeah, yeah. I had a big bull mastiff. Me and my wife, we had our first child, and I had a single teammate, unnamed teammate, and we were hanging around after practice. Hey, I made some chili at home. You want to come have lunch at my place? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll come over. And he comes over and sits down. And he has some chili, and he says, "This isn't chili. It's like tomato sauce." to my wife. What? Yeah, yeah. That's the last time I had him over.
So you invite Danny over for lunch because you feel bad. He takes the taste and complains to Andrea about the chili.
Yeah, tomato sauce, he called it. Meanwhile, he's coming over. He comes over empty-handed. You know, he didn't bring anything. I told Andrea today. I said, I'm going to talk to Dennis Fial. She goes, yeah, this guy came over and didn't like the chili, right? I said, yeah. She goes, all he brought over was a couple of hotel soaps and a couple of shampoos. That's all he gave us.
Okay. True story, Wally. I've told this story before. And Danny, did you ever find out who did that? Because we've been talking about this a lot with the Senators today. Like, the guys put huge money on the board right now. The money's so big, nobody even talks about it because the guys are making big bucks. But I remember we had a game once, and we were playing one of Denny's former teams, and everybody put money up on the board. Then somebody put Denny's name up and taped up as money 5 hotel shampoo bottles and 5 hotel soaps. Did you ever find out who that was?
No, never did. Don't know. It's all fun, though. It's all fun. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Man, I'm getting picked on right now.
Oh, boy. We had to find. I think I know who it was. I think he's sitting right beside you on the podcast right now.
I remember I went over to Denny's place one time, and I was over there for some reason. I went in to go to the bathroom or something, and I look in. There's like 4 little shampoos, all the little soaps. saving a few bucks getting the little soaps, Denny. Come on, buddy.
Had to keep it.
Get a big bar of Irish Spring next time.
I want to go to the grocery store.
The single life.
Yes.
Were you a prankster, Denny?
No, not really.
No, eh?
No. But I had fun though. Yeah, I had fun in the locker room. I had fun with the guys.
Yeah.
Did you get pranked a lot, or did people leave you alone because you would beat their head in?
No, No, it worked both ways. I mean, I was pretty good in the locker room, like having fun with guys, joking around. So, but then on the ice, it was a little different. So,
I got Danny.
That's a good way to put it.
Danny and I were talking the other day. We were, oh my God, Danny must have laughed for 20 minutes. And I mentioned this before. Danny and I played junior together. Then we end up in the minors together in Adirondack as D partners. And we had this D coach named Joe Patterson, who Joe was a great guy, but he was a former tough guy. So at the end of every game, I remember this like it was yesterday. It would be a minute left, win or lose. Joe and Denny would be deciding on which guy Denny was going to go punch out in the last minute. No, that guy's being an asshole. No, he's been an asshole. I'm gonna get that guy right there. And this went on every single game. It was my first year in the pros. I'm like, I guess this is what it's like in pro hockey.
This is how Denny was in the locker room all the time, right here, laughing all the time. And if he wasn't laughing, nobody else was laughing.
No. Hey,
yeah, it was fun in Ottawa.
Denny, I gotta ask you because everybody, Wally and I talk about this all the time. Drake Batherson, he's your nephew. Yeah. I talk to you about him. Great kid. He's off to a great start. How often do you get to see Drake? And like, are your families close?
Oh yeah, we are. Summertime. He lives in Halifax, so we see him. We see maybe half a dozen times over the summer. So, but he's always good though. I mean, this is first places. You're always welcome to go there. So I slept there a few times over the summer. So he's there or not there, whatever. I just pop my head in there, and if not, I just take off. But the odd weekend we go and spend the day there. He's got a spot in the lake.
Yeah.
So
he's having one of his. He's been one of Ottawa's best players this year, Danny. Is there did he do anything different? I know he always goes up and he skates with Crosby and those guys up in Halifax. And I know when he started doing that, it took him another level. But this year, he seems like he's dialed in even more. Like Wally, he's been at another level for me this year.
Yeah, he's done well. I mean, granted, he's fortunate to train where he gets to train here in Halifax. It's a couple of the best players in the league. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's he knows he's pretty fortunate, pretty lucky there. He's got great skates in the summertime here. A lot of good players. So and it's pretty intense. So so he's lucky that way. So he gains a lot of confidence on the ice, practicing with those guys. So, but he does work hard in the summertime.
Do you ever take him on the ice to show him how to fight?
No, they don't allow me on the ice here.
What?
No.
Oh,
Why not, Danny? What happened?
I think maybe I just love too intense.
Joe, do you remember Danny Danny used to use it was the black Sherwood. And when you were playing forward and you'd get a little head of steam going, your jaw would be clenched, you'd be stick handling down the ice. All of a sudden they would just open up for you like the Red Sea. It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, the red Sherwoods. They're red Sherwoods.
Before we let you go, I know Yorkie said we keep you for like 10 minutes. You played a lot for Brian Murray. I'm just curious if you have any Brian Murray stories.
Brian Murray. My first day in Detroit, when I walked in the locker room, and I didn't know who Brian Murray was. They didn't know who he was. So when I thought, so I walk around, and I'm coming around. I can't remember. It was like in the hallway there, in Detroit, in the rink, and I came around, and I was like, I don't know if I had a towel or something like that. I thought he was a trainer. So I'm talking to him like he's the trainer. So listen, I need a towel. Where do you get my towel here?
What did Brian say?
So one of the players goes, yeah, he's the coach. He's not the trainer. Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Oh, my God.
So, he was, I was fortunate to play with Brian. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, he was funny.
Do you have a favorite coach?
Not really, but I mean, Rick Bowness was good to me. I was pretty lucky.
Yeah.
He just, he gave me a lot of opportunities. So I always find that coaches, like for players, like if you just work hard and come to the rink and play hard and work hard, they'll always find a way to give you an opportunity, and try for you. But if you're lazy and then they'll just like, you give them an excuse and they'll just, and they'll just kind of weed you out or something like that. But I always tell everybody to work hard. So I remember Danny Alverson, he was saying one time to me, he goes, I don't really, like they say I'm a great player. I don't really think I'm a good player. I just work hard. He just worked hard.
Yeah.
My goal is to work harder than the other guy.
It's pretty simple, isn't it, eh? Danny, Mac, what do you do? What do you do, Mac, if you tell a player something, because kids are different now, and they give you the yeah, but.
Oh, the yeah, buts are awesome. It's funny. The yeah, buts are my favorite. Yeah. It's always like, next time I'll do it. Next time I'll do it. Oh, it's a sales job now with the kids, especially in college, because now they can transfer right away and go to another school and play. I think D3 is a lot of fun because you can coach kids and they love to play. They just love the game, and it's the guys we have at Suffolk are great. They're great to coach. It's been fun.
Danny, before we let you go, when you stay over at Drake's house and you leave, do you take the shampoo bottles or not?
No, it's beer.
No, that's fair.
I think it's beer now.
That's fair.
Danny, you still allowed to play in the alumni events that they have up in Ottawa?
No, I don't know. I haven't been there for a while.
Yorkie, I played with we played one. What was that? We had one that had a draft the night before, and then they had
Was that 20? Is that the outdoor one? 2017?
no, it was before that. It was before that. Daigle was there and a bunch of guys.
Celebrity Cup at the Sunsplex there. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to play against Denny's team. He had the helmet, the leather straps. It was strapped on tight, going hard.
Yeah. Oh, going hard. Oh, yeah. I had to play one night. I was stuck with a team. I had to play 4 times in one day. My last game was against Radek Bonk. That guy, he was going 100 miles an hour. So you got to be kidding me. Bonk. Holy cow. I mean,
Bonky just had hip surgery, so he's slowed down a little bit now.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know who flies around the ice now? It's the Chris Neal. He's every game. Like he's giving her out there.
No, really?
Oh yeah.
The whole Nealer.
He plays for keeps.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Well, he tries all the time.
Yeah. Well, Danny, you still skate once a week though, don't you?
Well, I try. Yeah, I try to skate.
Do you ever see? I feel like you've
65 pounds.
Oh God.
Do you ever see or talk to like Rob Ray or any guys that you've had legendary battles with?
No, I saw Stu Grimson 2 years ago in an event in Moncton there for a Heart and Stroke Foundation there thing. Yeah. So I saw him, Stu Grimson, and I saw Rob Ray in Ottawa there when he was doing color radio for Buffalo.
Yep.
I saw him in the hotel.
And how'd that meeting go?
I chatted with him for a little bit. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's kind of weird, really, when you hate a guy so much, and now you see him, and now you gotta like him.
I wonder if he felt the same way.
I don't know.
Okay. So, Danny, what was your relationship to Peter Fiorentino? Was he your cousin?
No. He's from Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this guy, Peter Fiorentino. He was a pretty tough guy, and he was around the same age as Danny, and he always played for the New York Rangers farm team Binghamton. Danny and I were at Adirondack. So we go up to play Binghamton. I'll never forget this. I see Danny and Peter the morning of the game talking and laughing. They're having a great time. And I'm like, all right, okay. They know each other, and this is awesome. They're allowed to talk to their team. Opening face-off for the game that night. Peter's a defenseman. Danny's a defenseman. Danny's gloves must get thrown 30 feet in the air. Fiorentino, the same thing, and they just charge each other and start fighting. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Do you remember that?
I remember fighting them. Yeah. But the problem with me in hockey was like little Jekyll and Hyde. For some reason, I get on the ice and I don't know. I just didn't. It was just I just played. I didn't care. You can remember my brother or whatever. I just took the fuck away from me. I'm going after you.
Hey Wally, I think we know who we could help the Ottawa Senators out on their blue line right now as far as clearing out the front of the net.
That's the type of guy I've been looking for 3 years. We need you. You're Danny before. Listen, this is what I found. This is my I don't know if you can see it. This is my dad's jacket from the
Oh my goodness.
The Horton Academy jacket.
Look how old that is.
Yeah, 55. Anyway, so you can have it if you ever
Holy.
You want to put that in the Hall of Fame.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Danny, didn't you come over to my house one night too when we were playing for the Sens and my mom made us dinner? It was me, you, and Redden. And something happened with the food. You said it wasn't spicy enough or something. I thought I recalled that. My mom made us this nice homemade dinner. She's like, how's the food, boys? And Danny's like, I could have used a little more seasoning.
Something like Gordon Ramsay, Hell's Kitchen now, just ripping all the cooks.
Danny's Kitchen. There we go. We got a new reality show.
So good.
Yeah, geez.
All right.
Tough crowd.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to have you back on again soon if we can, Danny. I have lots of questions to ask you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
all right.
Appreciate
Take
that.
care, sir.
Yeah. See you.
See you,
Sean. See you, Big Mac.
See you, buddy.
Sorry,
man.
You didn't know he was coming on, did you?
Oh, he's too funny.
The best laugh in hockey. Like, who has a better laugh than Denny Viel?
It is crazy because in the locker room, that's all Denny did was laugh. And then like, especially go back and look at showed my son some YouTube videos of Denny Vial versus Rob Ray. That's like insanity. Like
Yeah.
they're just he was just so tough.
Yeah.
Great guy.
For anybody watching the pod that hasn't seen Denny fight, I highly suggest go on some of the old YouTubes and watch some of Denny's fights. There's just he didn't get tired either, and he'd usually end up with everything off. And my God, it's just I'll never forget though that story I told when he used to pick me up at I was so afraid of him because it was my first year junior and I'm 17 years old. And Denny's like it was like a clown car, this little Chevette he had, and he barely squeezed into it. And he's like, he's driving, the music's blasting. But the nice thing is I'd go into his house first. We have a little muffin together as Billets gave us some snacks. Then we get in this car, and then it was like I'd start getting nervous because I Danny, and then I go to the rink. I had this crazy coach, and it was just nuts. But just a heart of gold though, Mac? Just a great guy.
He's totally different off the ice than on the ice. But when I played in that alumni thing where they drafted us and stuff, like he was flying around. I was just getting the hell out of the way. I did not want to get hit with Denny's stick. He's swinging the stick as he's going up the ice. I'm like, get me out of here.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Too funny.
Do you watch much Sens hockey, by the way? Do you still keep in?
Not as much sense. I watch the Bruins a lot. They've had a lot of news lately, so I've been watching them quite a bit. But, they had the tough start, and I don't know. It's a strange start to the season.
What happened with them? Like, how did Monty all of a sudden become well, obviously not. He got hired within a day. Like, what happened in Boston? What do you think happened with that team?
I don't know. Like, I thought Monty was the 2 years he had before this were just amazing. And their offense, they didn't have they had some good players, but didn't seem like good enough players to set a record with wins and points and everything else, and then come back last year and kind of do the same thing again. And I feel like they lost to Florida twice, who might be the best team in the league, obviously, the last 2 years. They just made the playoffs that 1 year. But I feel like the whole response to how they put together a team was all about beating Florida. But you got to get to Florida first. You got to make the playoffs, and I feel like they try to get big on the back end, especially in that first game of the season. They play Florida, and that Florida is just buzzing, and Boston's back end just looked a little bit slow.
Yeah.
How important do you think Big D are in today's NHL? Because I was talking about Ottawa's. Do they have a smaller group, more skilled guys? Do you think you need big guys back there?
Well, I think I read someplace the stats it's like the teams that have won the Stanley Cup the last 6-10 years all have average, was it over 6'1" defensemen, something crazy. They're all Big D. I think it's tough because you look at the playoffs, and the year Boston had that great season, they play Florida, and who's the captain of Anaheim now? Oh, Czech kid, he lays out some big hits.
Oh, you're right.
Not
you know what I'm talking
Not
Gudas.
Oh,
So Gudas was in Florida, and they're playing, and I think he's limited skating ability, but in the playoffs, if they're going to allow him to play his game, he's like an Ulf Samuelsson out there now. He can really be disruptive, and they allowed him to play his game, and he went from being a guy that might have been a liability to a guy that Pasternak had to watch if he was getting on the ice. And I think that's so you got to know how to build a team for regular season, and the playoffs, I think, is kind of a different story.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like there's the rules change. Exhibitions kind of easy. A couple young guys will fool the team and making the team. Then it gets a little harder. Then around Christmas it picks up. Less stuff starts getting called. Right before the playoffs, it ramps up again. Then playoffs, it's it's jailhouse rules. Let's go.
Yeah, it's strange because you just don't know what they're going to call, really. Especially this year, the league's been kind of crazy. They called a goal one night, and you're like, well, it seemed like the guy, I don't know, but one night it's a goal, the next night it's not a goal. I don't know the people in the front office. It seems like a odd readings on things.
Yeah.
Extremely. There was a picture I had, it wasn't allowed to use for copyright. It's a picture of you on the ice with Mario Lemieux, I think Michel Goulet and Jeremy Roenick, all three in the Hall of Fame. It made me think, do you have any Mario Lemieux stories?
Not too many. That would have been in the playoffs. We won the Stanley Cup my first year, '92, and
were you supposed to be on the ice? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh wow! Wow! I joined the team. That was crazy because I joined that team after the Olympics in February, and Craig Patrick picks me up. Craig Patrick was the GM of the 1980 Olympic team. So in the U.S., I'm like, Craig Patrick, this is crazy. Takes me takes me to the hotel room. We practice and stuff. The next day we fly to Calgary, and we have I'm going to play my first game. But before the game, that was when we went on we went on strike. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's over the cards, like the money for the cards. And I think Mario and Gretzky and those guys signed up with the PA to give the money for those cards, like the likeness to the PA, and kind of get the PA going. But they have a vote, like Larry Murphy was the rep, and he's like, guys, we have to take a vote who wants to go on strike. And I just got that. I'm like, strike? What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, so like I'm just sitting there, look around, and guys like to go on strike, and they knew all the whatever was going on with the league, and they all put their hands up. I was like, I didn't know what to do, right? And then he leaves, and now he sits down, and Craig Patrick comes in, and they're talking about the team had won the Stanley Cup the year before, and Craig's like, well, we can't, we're not playing well, we're not going to make the playoffs. We got to pick it up. What's wrong with the team? And they're like, well, Scotty Bowman. Somebody stood up and said, Scotty Bowman, like, he's a pain in the ass. Like he's a pain in the ass to play for. Blah 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 blah. And so Craig said, well, I guarantee you he won't be back next year if we can just get through this year. So I'm like, wow. I came from BU. I'm like, we couldn't fire the coach in the meeting. We couldn't tell the AD to fire the coach. So I played my first game. It was great. It's fun and stuff. And then a few days later, we get locked out. And I'm like, I drive home to Boston. And then like a week, I waited like a week or 10 days to drive home. I leave the hotel, I drive home, I get home, ESPN says the strike's over. I get on a flight the next day back to Pittsburgh, late for practice. And then we end up winning the Stanley Cup. And Scotty Bowman's like the nicest guy in the world after you win. He won't even talk to you before that. But that's when I was on the ice with those guys. And then the next year we come back after the summer and everything else. And we had training camp without any head coach. We had no head coach. The 2 assistant coaches ran training camp. It was like Mario would come on the ice with a towel around his neck, no helmet on, no shoulder pads, shoot the puck. And Tommy Barrasso was in net. If I shot the puck at Tommy Barrasso and hit him anywhere close to his arm, he'd like fire a puck at you, pissed off. So then Mario would just get off the ice like halfway through practice when he had enough because his back was so bad. But right before the first game, Craig comes in to announce who the next head coach is, and it's Scotty Bowman. Scotty walks in behind him. But Scotty wasn't allowed on the ice during practice. He only coached games.
That's right. Yeah, you told me about that before.
The assistant coaches during practice. The craziest place I've ever played. Like the best team of scary team. All Hall of Famers. But like it was a wild introduction to pro hockey.
So Scotty Bowman's the coach.
Yeah.
But the players insist they don't want him on the ice for practice. So he
wasn't even in the building.
Not allowed in the building.
He wasn't even there. Like he came on the ice once, I think, because there was a TV camera to do a special about him or something. So he came on the ice. So otherwise, we practiced with nobody.
Was it Barry Smith running the practices?
I don't know. It was Rick Keogh and Rick Patterson.
Yeah. And then so then for the games, Scotty would come and be the bench coach for the games.
Yeah. And it was easy. Like I could do it too. Like 66, you're up. 10, Ronnie Francis, you're up next. And it was like he was old school. Like if a guy wasn't, I would be like a third or fourth liner, and if a guy wasn't playing well, he'd spot me in there. And if I had a good shift, I get to keep playing. It was like you either play or you sit on the bench. There's no in between. You better go or you're sitting on the bench. And those guys played a lot. I mean, amazing team.
Yeah, that was Lemieux, Francis. Jagger was Jagger there yet?
Yeah, second year, third year.
Kevin Stevens, John Mullen, Barry Murphy, Paul Coffey.
Talk was there too.
Talk wasn't there anymore. Trotz was there. Brian Trottier.
Okay. 91, 92 team I'm listing.
Yeah, I wasn't on that. That was in the next year. Yeah, he was there. Those guys get traded. So Coffey, Mark Recchi, got traded. I forget who, but maybe somebody else. That was before. Mark Recchi, and then they get Tocchet, and they got somebody else. They get Tocchet for those guys.
Wow, Jeff Chikrin played one game on that team.
Jeff Chikrin.
Yeah,
what? I heard Mario's back was so bad sometimes the trainers had to tie his skates
all the time. Yeah, the guy in those like. I don't know, what are the shoe stores up in Canada? They have those things you put your foot on to the guy ties you. He used to tie his shoe for you.
Yeah. They
had one of those in the locker room, and the young kid would tie his skates every time.
Wow. Like his
that
back
guy,
was that bad.
Yeah. And that's the season I think he had cancer. I think it was that season he had cancer. I think you can check the stats. He beat Pierre Turgeon, and he played like 65 games, maybe, had cancer, and went through treatment, so missed a bunch of the season, but still won the scoring title and came back and played against Philadelphia. First game back from cancer treatment, had like hair missing from the back of his head. Played in Philadelphia and got like 2-1 or something like that. It was like insane.
I remember that. He 60 games, 69 goals, 160 points.
Yeah, that was the year he might have challenged Gretzky's record for like 200 points or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was crushed. I mean, crazy.
Is he the best player you ever played with?
Yeah, I play with Wayne. Like, I get traded from Pittsburgh to LA when remember Marty McSorley had the illegal stick in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he signed the offer sheet with St. Louis, but they didn't do it. They traded him for me to Pittsburgh, and I went to LA and got to play with your friend Barry Melrose.
Oh, yeah, Barry wouldn't have liked you.
Nah, not so much. Not so much. I got there, and there's an article in the paper talking about how they traded for me, and Barry said, "Yeah, we got this 6'1", 210-pound center." I was like 5'10", 185 pounds. He just shit all over me. First time I met him, he's like, "Hey, Shawn, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey, Barry, what's going on?" And I like Barry. I see Barry after this, but he's like, "You ever play in the minors, Shawn?" I'm like, "Nah, I haven't played in the minors." He goes, "I think everybody should play in the minors."
Hello.
Yeah. But like the thing is, you learn something everywhere you go, like you say, and he made you show up and work hard, like he did.
Oh my God,
like you better work or you're not getting anything. And I learned a lot playing from him. I didn't appreciate like some of it, but like I learned a lot. Like you show up and play for him, and got to play with Wayne Gretzky. But at the time, I think it was Wayne was still good, but like Mario was at the top of his career then. But both of them amazing, obviously.
Yorkie, let him go.
Oh, this is the stories. Or you got to go, Mac?
No, we hit one story.
Well, we had AJ on the pod the other day, Andreas Johansson.
Oh yeah,
he was telling the best Jagger stories. There's so many good Jagger stories about. Like, were you there when he started to go off the rails? When they had to bring his dad in, and then they brought Kevin Constantine on to coach the team, and Jagger.
No.
Oh, okay. There was like just some. AJ just said that he went out one practice, and because when you were there, it was a total country club. Like no helmets in practice, no shoulder pads. It was basically you do whatever you want, right? As long as you want.
Yeah. But well, it was for the big boys, like the guy. I mean, we had the guys were insane. Like our first line all had 50 goals or something. It was crazy. Like but guys kind of did what they wanted because we didn't have a head coach. I mean, like, think about that. There's no head coach.
How did you?
It was insane.
How did you?
You get so out of shape if you weren't like a top player. The top players played a ton, and if you weren't, you better stay on the ice and skate a little bit, because like you weren't going to play much. It was crazy. Then I got traded with Kevin Stevens to Boston, and we met with the head coach was Steve Casper. First thing he said to me, "I just want you to know, Shawn, this isn't the PCC, Pittsburgh Country Club." Because that was the rumor. And I was like, "Yeah, Steve, I wish I was part of the PCC. That wasn't my thing, man. That was a different category of players."
You didn't get your membership. Yeah,
I didn't get that membership though. But Mario was like, he was a nice guy. He was pretty quiet, and I mean, it was like having the best seat in the house to watch him play. He just did stuff that you would just be like, "You got to be kidding me,"
In a city with the Steelers and the Pirates, I'm not sure. I think they were pretty good at that particular time.
Pirates had gone to the World Series. I think Bonilla and those guys.
With Bonds and Bonilla, right? Yeah. So did you guys still kind of, who ran the city? Like, were the Penguins?
Not me.
No, you just quietly making chili.
I think Kevin Stevens and those guys and Jagger was huge. He was huge back then. He didn't speak a lot of English, but he was like, people loved him. But it was kind of funny because I went to the playoffs when Bonilla and Bonds was playing for the Pirates. I think Wakefield was knuckleballing for him then too.
Oh
yeah. And there was nobody at the playoff game. We're at Three River Stadium, I think. There's nobody at the playoff game. I must have been with I might have been with Jeff Chikrin and some other guys just hanging out watching. And we looked to our right, we looked down. There's this little guy, paper up at the ball game, reading a newspaper. Scotty Bowman. Scotty Bowman's just sitting there reading the newspaper, watching the game.
Oh God.
Like, doesn't have to
So
do
good.
practice.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do? What else? You got to go do something.
Yeah,
Go to the
Lord.
baseball game.
He
Oh,
lived in
God.
the same hotel as me. He lived in the same hotel. I'd go down the elevator with him. If I caught it in the morning, I'd be going down the elevator. Scotty would get in, wouldn't even look at me. He'd look up at me like this. Wouldn't say hi. Wouldn't say anything.
Wasn't that so weird back in the day? Like when you came in the 80s and 90s, coaches, like there was this just uncomfortableness when you saw your head coach. You'd look down and they wouldn't look at you, and it's just weird.
Especially coming from college. Like you don't know, you call your college coach or whatever, but like in the pros, like you call him Scotty or Mr. Bowman. Like
What do you call him? Yeah.
What do you call him? Yeah. I just did the old like whatever. Hey,
coach.
hey, buddy. Nah, no buddies.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Well, keep your phone handy. We're going to call you again soon to come on the show.
no, okay. Good to see you guys.
You
Thanks,
too.
Mac.
Thanks.
Great talking,
care.
man.